A very good afternoon to all the students present today for the online lecture of second year BCom semester 3 for the subject management. I warmly welcome one and all. Now students, you have been attending number of lectures in management and you are aware that we have discussed quite a lot for the second unit that talks on the recent techniques in human resource management. Out of all the different contents to be covered in number of lectures, we have already covered the techniques such as employees for lease. We have understood moonlighting by employees with its pros and cons, the types such as blue moon to full moon. We have also understood the dual career groups. We have understood the concepts of flexi time and flexi work, the advantages and the limitations for the same. And in the previous few lectures, we have been now focusing our attention on a concept that is TQM, meaning to say total quality management. We have understood about its concept and its different advantages and importance. So today we shall move ahead with the same, and I would be now explaining you the history of quality management as to from where did the concept of TQM emerged and how has it been developed in almost all the companies today worldwide. So that shall be the focus for today's lecture. As you can see, from now onwards, we are basically going to talk about one technique that shall be quality management. So students, in previous two lectures, we have been discussing about total quality management. I had explained you the concept of TQM, which had shown us the combination of three things to be the concept of TQM, that is total, quality, and management. We had understood how TQM focuses on collective effort on the part of everybody in the organization towards continuous improvement in the quality of goods or services offered to the customers. The customers' needs have to be considered, and for the satisfaction of the same, the quality of the products and services needs to be improvised. It has to be a continuous improvement. The goods, the services have to be durable, have to be reliable. Then and only then the customers will stay satisfied and will be loyal towards the company. Why was it known as total quality management? Because we were talking about the quality aspect of each and everything involved in the organization, whether it be a production process or whether it be the finished product produced. Moreover, everybody in the organization had to be made quality conscious. It was a well understood fact that everybody in the organization has to be conscious about the quality. It is not the responsibility of a single person, but whether it is an employee, whether it is at the lower level, whether at the middle or the higher level, everybody has to be equally conscious towards their responsibilities, towards continuous improvement in the quality. So we had understood the concept of each and every term, meaning to say total, quality, and management. I also had summed up the concept by showing you a few definitions about TQM, that it is a management approach, that it is concentrating on the development of quality through customer satisfaction, achieving customer loyalty. It was a structured effort to improve the quality. It is not only the responsibility of a single member. In the previous lecture, we had explained the advantages of total quality management. I had discussed with you all the possible importances and advantages of TQM. Let me just give you a quick recap for the same, and then we begin with understanding the history of total quality management. So students, I had explained you how TQM mainly focuses on the needs of the customers and the market. The needs have to be understood well, and once the needs have been understood, the company, the industry can work for the satisfaction of the same. It believes in the concept of universality and thereby tries to satisfy the needs of the customers, the needs of the target market. It also aspires to become a top quality performer, because when there is such a competitive environment, you want to achieve that competitive edge. You want to survive in this complex business environment, for which you need to become the top quality performer. We had discussed how the negative attitudes and the non participative culture has to be eliminated, and how an attitudinal and a cultural change has to be brought about, so that everybody is equally participative towards the development and improvement of quality. We understood how TQM will help achieve the quality performance. It will help us frame a long-term plan or a strategy on defining the quality policies, goals, objectives, and thereby communicating it to one and all in the organization, so that nobody remains aloof from the efforts towards quality improvement. Everybody has to be equally participative for the same, and that could also be possible when the non-productive activities and the waste is reduced. So definitely another importance of TQM is improving the productivity by reducing the wastage, reducing the unproductive activities, and increasing the profitability. It also helps to understand the competition. I had explained you how TQM helps to understand the pulse of the customer and the target market. That is to say, helps to understand the needs of the customers, with which it will be easy to survive in this competitive environment, because with increasing competition, it becomes the survival of the fittest. That is possible when the organizations have a good quality approach towards the products, and they work for the satisfaction of their customers. Thereby also helps to work for communication, acknowledging good work, because if an organization faces improper communication, of course there will be misunderstanding, duplication of work, maybe wastage, confusion, ultimately resulting to low productivity and profitability. So it also helps to bring everybody together in the organization. Combined efforts can result in quality improvement and customer satisfaction. Lastly, I also explained you that it is a never-ending process. It is not a one-time show. It does not believe in quality improvement as just for a limited period of time, but it is a continuous improvement process. One has to work continuously for the development of quality, so that one can survive in this changing business environment. So I hope that you are clear with all what we have done up till now, particularly for the concept of total quality management. So by now you have understood what do you mean by TQM. You also know its advantages, its importance. Today I'm going to take you a little back on that concept. That is to say, we are going to understand the history of total quality management, as to from where did the word TQM come? Was there any other concept before TQM also? How and from which country did it emerge? And thereafter, how and when it spread throughout the world in almost all the companies and industries operating today? So for that, let me first explain you, give you an idea as to from where the word total quality management emerged, who actually used it for the first time. So as you can see on the slide, the history of total quality management began initially as a term coined by the Naval Air Systems Command to describe its Japanese style management approach to quality improvement. So one thing is very clear with this, that the term actually was coined by the Naval Air Systems Command, but basically the another thing you have to study, you have to understand is that TQM shows you a Japanese style of quality improvement. It goes without saying that this was something that got emerged from Japan and Japanese style of working, and thereby got inspired by other parts of the world as well. But we need to even study something beyond this. We need to understand as to from where did the concept of quality came. Initially there was nothing like managing quality or making more efforts for continuous improvement in quality. So from where did it actually came up, it emerged? We are going to go back to that history, but this much you need to remember as to from where this term was coined. So students, if I take you back to the history of quality management, I'm not particularly talking about TQM because total quality management came quite after that. But if I basically talk about only the term quality management or how that quality became an important term, so it takes us back to the First World War, as you can see, because it was during that First World War, during that war period, that large scale production, large scale manufacturing was taking place. But of course, at that time, the production was not up to mark. It was not up to the expectations. Most of the time, some poor quality products were produced. And so it was realized that efforts have to be put in for improvising the quality of the products. It was then when production quality was given more importance, and even the quality inspectors were appointed who can see that the failures are reduced, the quality of the production is improvised. So we can say that it was during the First World War that the concept of at least having a good quality came into existence. So you may just read it once more, that the concept of quality management was emerged from the days of First World War. Large scale manufacturing took place during the war period, and at that time, the production quality was not up to the expectations. So already the people were suffering during the war period, and because it required and demanded a lot of production, the quality was not up to the expectation. Most of the time, poor quality products were produced, and thereby quality inspectors were put on production line to ensure the production quality. They were appointed to see to it that the products produced are of good quality, and then onwards, quality inspection became more common in the manufacturing activities. So I hope you understood how this entire concept of at least quality management came into existence. It was during that First World War where production was not up to the good quality standards, and thereby quality inspection became important. But then the question that comes to our mind is, how was the quality inspected during those days? Was it a total quality management? That is to say, was it inclusive of everybody in the organization? Were they testing the quality of every aspect in the production process? So the answer is no. During the First World War, it was not all about total quality management. That is to say, every aspect was not studied. It was during that time that W.A. Shewhart, you might have heard his name when you might have studied statistics. You might have heard that he is known as the father of statistical process control. So it was he, while he was working in the Bell Labs in around 1931, he was the one who introduced the concept of SQC, that is Statistical Quality Control. You might have heard this, you might have even studied this concept while understanding statistics. So he was the one who gave this technique that was nothing but testing the quality through the sampling method. That is to say, by taking a sample out of the whole lot of production and thereby testing that sample, which would help us know the deviation in the entire process. The sample would have been such that could represent the quality of the entire batch or the entire lot. So that method was actually used during that First World War period, and it was, of course, initiated by Professor Shewhart. So quality inspections took place by introducing the SQC, that is Statistical Quality Control, which was developed by W.H. Shewhart, a statistician at Bell Labs in 1931. As I said, this quality method was adopted by introducing the sampling method. So it was not testing the quality of every article introduced in the production process or to test the deviation at every step, but at least through testing a sample, one could test whether the quality is up to the mark or not. As it was not possible to test every item at that time, a sample item having representative quality was tested. Sampling is based on the notion that the selected sample for testing quality represents all the items of the batch. So it was such a sample collected which could at least give a representation of all the different items of the batch or of the entire production lot. SQC tool was developed on the principle that if the variation in the process could be removed, it ends up in providing higher level of quality in the end product. So ultimately, even the goal of SQC was the same, that in case variations could be removed in the production process itself, the final product that will be produced or the end product has to be of a higher quality. So I hope that you understood as to from where did the term total quality management emerge, and from when and from where the quality management was given importance. So we have gone back to the First World War, but still we are onto the sampling technique or the sampling method of testing the quality. We have still not reached to the aspect of TQM where every article had to be tested, where everybody has to remain quality conscious about every aspect in manufacturing. And then it takes us back again to the World War II. Now, after World War I, already because of the defects found in the manufacturing process, quality management emerged as a concept and sampling technique also emerged to test the quality. But due to its limitations now, in World War II, one can see that again there was an immense necessity of manufacturing. Huge and large scale production was taking place. Especially if I talk about the defense goods, it was quite a lot. But then again, there was a problem of quality. There had to be a quality department compulsorily who need to check the quality of goods produced, because it was after World War II that Japan had a heavy struck. It had suffered already huge losses, and it was also producing quite low quality products during those days. And that is the time when the Japanese engineers and Japanese industries had actually invited a person that you can see on the slide known as Edward Deming. He was the person who was invited to develop the quality management practices. How can the Japanese companies, the Japanese industries undertake manufacturing with the best quality, and by reducing any sort of errors or deviations, if any? So he was invited, and he was the person who thereafter made the concept of quality management even familiar. He was the one who also gave a number of principles, one of which was also a cycle that he had shown that is popularly known as the PDCA cycle, that is to say, plan, do, check or study, and act. So he actually gave his principles, he gave this cycle, also known as the Deming cycle, where he shown how things have to be planned first. One has to perform the same, one has to check the quality in case there is a defect, it has to be removed, and lastly, to remove the deviations, action plan has to be undertaken. So it was during this World War II that the concept of total quality management became quite familiar. So when World War II broke out, there was an immense necessity to produce the quality goods, especially the defense-oriented goods. Each manufacturer, irrespective of the type of goods produced, had a quality department to check the quality of the goods produced. So it was that much of importance during World War II. They had a quality department who would check the quality. And after World War II, that is to say, when the World War II got over, Japanese were producing low quality goods and had to improve the situation. So Japanese Union of Scientists, Engineers invited Dr. Deming to train the engineers in quality processes. He helped the Japanese industries to develop quality management and quality manufacturing practices through his principles, as I said. So by the year 1950, quality control became an integral part of the Japanese manufacturing activities and was adopted at all the levels of workers within an organization. So it was then when it became a responsibility of every single person in an organization, and not just the responsibility of only a few people. It was not the time where sampling testing was undertaken, but it was a time where every aspect had to be judged in terms of its quality. So, where in 1931, that was during World War I, when SQC was introduced, it was by the year 1950 when quality control became very integral part. And we are necessarily talking about the Japanese techniques because TQM and different techniques of TQM, if you have heard about, let us say, Kaizen or Kerio or benchmarking or Pareto analysis or even Six Sigma, these are quite familiar, quite famous total quality management techniques. They all have their origin from Japan. And it is now that you see it is being implemented everywhere throughout the world because these techniques have been quite successful. So the concept of total quality was widely discussed in 1970. So by 1970, we had emerged from quality management to total quality management, where it involved all the employees from the top management down the line to the last worker. So it was in TQM where it was considered a responsibility of every person involved, whether being from the low level, middle, or the higher level. So in 1980 and onwards, many companies throughout the world started introducing the quality management procedures, adopting the Japanese tools as base. So of course, it was introduced from Japan, so it was taken up as a base and thereafter implemented worldwide. One example that I can give you is of Six Sigma. So it was also by the Motorola company of USA, which invented a quality concept called Six Sigma, wherein Sigma basically again a statistics term that shows you the deviation. So it was under this particular process where the wastages, the deviations had to be eliminated. There has to be a process which is defect free, error free, and thereby helping us improvise the quality as a whole. So I can say that today quality management has been the mantra of any organization, and these organizations are in the process of developing essential processes, ideas, theories, and tools that are central to the organizational development, change management, and performance improvement. So I hope that you understood with the history that we have seen all about total quality management. Now, students, before I take up the next topic, that is the principles of quality management, I would give you some time. You can have a look again at the history of total quality management that we have understood so that you just get it registered in your mind as to from where the concept came into existence, how it came into existence. So students, I would give you some 30 seconds to a minute. You can have a look again at the history of TQM that we have understood. We started with the discussion on from where the term TQM was coined. So it takes us back to the Naval Air Systems Command. Then we went back to the First World War. That was the time when the concept of quality management was introduced. We have not yet reached to TQM, but it was during this time that quality management was given importance because of poor quality products that were produced. So quality inspectors were also appointed. But of course, we had undertaken testing by the statistical quality control, that is to say, sampling method being used to test the quality. And we also saw who introduced it. So we have heard about terms such as statistical quality control developed by Professor Shewhart in 1931, also known as the sampling method. So instead of testing every aspect, we were testing the sample, which could represent the quality of the entire production. But owing to its limitations, now we felt during World War II, where again Japan was facing quite a loss, quite a problem. There were some poor quality products being manufactured, and to develop the situation, to improvise the quality, it was the scientists and the engineers who were invited. Deming and Edwards Deming had thereafter given the principles through which the quality could be improvised. It was in 1950 where it became an integral part of the Japanese manufacturing activities. We understood how it became quite famous in 1970, and thereafter 1980 onwards it was a base for everybody throughout the world. You take up every organization, they are quality conscious, and it was then when total quality management became quite famous, quite familiar. Everybody in the organization became responsible for the management of quality. Now, students, this was all about the history of total quality management, an important question as you can see. The next question pertaining to total quality management are the principles of quality management. You also have a question under TQM. Apart from the concept and the history, it is about the different principles of total quality management. And as you see, there are some 7 principles that you have to understand. There are 7 quality management principles you have to pay attention to. If I just show you the names, they are the customer focus, improvement, you have evidence based decision making, you have the process approach, you have the engagement of people, and thereby you also have leadership as a principle of total quality management. Of course, we shall be discussing all the principles in the next lecture. So in the next lecture, students, we shall be beginning with all the principles. All the 7 principles will be taught to you in the next lecture. So I hope that you have understood the history of total quality management. Up till now, you have understood the concept of TQM with its importance and history. I hope that you are clear. In case you have doubts, feel free to ask them in the Google Classroom so that I can answer them at the earliest. Moreover, I have shared with you the notes of Unit 1 already. So I hope that you have started reading them. Start preparing the same for your assignments and quiz to be taken up in the lectures to come. So see you soon in the next lecture when we begin with the quality management principles. Thank you so much for the day, and until then, happy learning.